Our guest this morning. Doc, what a pleasure to see you. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning.
Yeah, thanks for coming. So you are not paralyzed or dead or any of these weird things that we were hearing on social media?
No, not at all.
Where did that come from?
Well, it's just a rumor. I mean,
Okay.
these are things you don't give it much attention.
Absolutely not. Well, you're certainly alive and well. In fact, this is maybe my third time seeing you in 2 weeks.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I've been aware that you're fine for quite some time. It's nice to have you on the show. We've got a lot to talk about. You know, in the morning, I asked our audience to send through their questions if they have any. Yeah, plenty are coming
Wow.
through. Yeah, people are excited to hear from you.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, maybe we can catch up, as tradition requires, since the last time you were here.
Yeah.
Tell us what you've been up to and how business has been going.
Well, it's been hectic anyway. I've been on the salt. I've been on the aviation business.
Yeah.
I've also been traveling across the world on the Continental free trade after. So it's been quite hectic.
Yeah. I know that you're playing a very important role in the logistics for the Africa Continental Free Trade
Exactly.
Agreement.
Exactly.
Tell us about that. What exactly are you hoping to achieve on that front?
Well, after is a big thing. It's the biggest thing that had ever happened to this continent. And the earlier we get involved and play major role, the better. Because you're talking about $4.3 trillion moving on the continent. We all need a piece of it. And being in that space. Currently, McDan has signed a contract with the Continental Free Trade to buy vessels and also buy cargo planes.
Wow.
To move cargo across the continent. The biggest problem we have with the Continental Free Trade is movement. I mean, without movement, there will never be trade. So if you want to move a cargo from Ghana to, let's say, Senegal, you have to go to Belgium before you come to Senegal.
Crazy.
It's quite hectic. So as you know, McDan solve problems. I mean, we're trying to fix that gap. So we are also having the trading companies across Africa to connect business to business, not only the logistics, and also move on to aggregation. So we'll be dealing with most of the small scale, medium scale businesses across the continent who are into manufacturing for aggregation. Yeah.
Do you find that some countries are still putting up barriers to movement, or is everyone on board?
Currently, on paper, everyone on board, but the problems you meet one problem or the other based on education. Even in Ghana, we have not been able to grasp the business community to really understand what is going on with the Continental Free Trade. And I believe that with time, everybody will be on board. The European Union, it took them some time. We've seen our flaws in the past when it comes to business across the continent. I believe that Ghana happened to host the Continental Free Trade because Ghana won the bid to have the secretariat right here.
Right. Yeah.
So it will be built in the trade fair. So trade in Ghana will be exciting. So as I always do, I'm urging all businessmen to come on board, to at least have a bite of what is going on, to participate and some of the conferences and the movement. Movement has started already, but the biggest problem is the connectivities. Yeah.
It's about time we moved from just 33 million customers to closer to 1 billion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you just joined us, we're talking to Dr. Daniel Macaulay, Executive Chairman of McDan Group of Companies. He is indeed a business leader in Ghana, and we always have fascinating conversations about the business environment whenever he joins us on the show. He also happens to be the CEO of Electrochem, which is the biggest salt mining company south of the Sahara.
Yeah.
Now, that's an achievement. That's a very big achievement. I know you've got big plans for the company. Tell us a little bit about what the future looks like for Electrochem.
Well, Electrochem is bigger than myself. You're talking about one of the biggest or the biggest salt mine in Africa, which needed to be harnessed for Ghana to gain to enjoy its full potential. This is a big one, and I believe that when you look at what salt have done for other countries in large scale, you won't be wrong when you want to talk about Electrochem.
Yeah. Now, I know that in addition to all of the industrial salt products that you export from Electrochem, you also have a local brand, don't you? We can have Electrochem salt in our kitchens, right?
Oh yes, we have what we call the Eagle salt. Right now, as I'm talking to you, we're building the refinery to refine outdated salt in Ghana. We have the biggest refinery coming up by next month.
Yeah.
So we have Eagle salt, which will be on our shelves in the country. So
brilliant. Looking forward to that.
It's going to be an exciting time for Ghana.
Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit. Let's bring it a bit closer to home. Times are hard. People are hustling. Is it the same for billionaires like you? At times hard for you too?
Actually, it's lonely at the top. It's very lonely at the top. It's harder. Not really to say that the economic situations are better for us. My kind, I was a street boy, so I always talk for the ordinary person on the street. I always try to make sure that my environment sees smiles. So the economic is hard, but I can assure you that it's not going to be easier if we don't look at the private sector seriously. Things are going to be harder. I can assure you that.
It's one of the things we were talking about earlier on the show, that deliberate decision that many countries have made to develop entrepreneurs and to allow people to take opportunities. How do you rate Ghana in that effort? I mean, you are a billionaire in Ghana, so how do you rate Ghana's ability to encourage entrepreneurs to become like?
Well, we have a system where I believe the government is a bit off from the business sector. If I will speak honestly, we are living in an economy where we have so much hatred for successful people. We are living in an economy where we need to support our own, but we end up supporting foreigners. When you step out of the shores of this country, look, don't let me go far. Let me pitch with Dangote. Dangote was built by a political party. A president woke up one day and said, Dangote, go this way. If it is Ghana, it becomes political. It makes things difficult. Right now, Dangote, the whole world is celebrating him. He has his own problems, but the whole world is celebrating him. One president stood up and created a billionaire. And he's been reigning African richest man for over decades. He's going to 20 years running as a African richest man. This man had employed so many people. Many at times, to be a businessman is not really about yourself. It's about the environment around you. You make government relax in a way that you employ. What we need now is employment. So as a businessman, as I said, it's lonely at the top. I wake up 4 a.m. every day. What do I do? Thinking about what to do next to put bread and butter on the thousands of people I've employed. So if the environment is not conducive, your focus will be on Daniel Macaulay, but you are killing 1 million jobs. So it's about time we look beyond the man. Some of us, we are just drivers. When I mean drivers, we are just leading the way. If I get the support, I will employ more people than government. Government can't do much. We have very solid political environment.
Stable, yeah.
Stable political environment. And what we need is a stable economic indicators that a businessman must strive on. So here we are. It is our job to create the enabling environment, the economical environment for the country to drive on.
Am I hearing you say that we don't do that as a nation, as a government, as a people? We don't really create that enabling environment for business.
Well, the environment is there, but underneath there's so much pain. The environment is there, but you have to brave it as a businessman. Some of the businesses in Ghana, you have to brave it. What is happening, a lot of businessmen are sitting on the fence and looking at cheap ways to make money. Meanwhile, we have left the space for foreigners to grab the space. You are talking about Electrochem. 3 years running, I'm braving it. We are talking about large-scale industry. How do we go and create small business and think we can meet our gross domestic products that to compete with other countries that are producing, in a very large scale? So it's difficult, but you have to brave it. Who do you leave the space for? You have to brave it.
In what ways are you braving it?
Well, actually, you don't need a heart. You need a liver. You put on a heart. There's too much feelings in the heart. So the slightest thing you give up. But the ups and downs are a lot.
Can you tell us some of them?
Well, by God's grace, Electrochem is going very well. And there's no difficulties in terms of moving forward. But you have a lot of people who really don't understand what is going on. And it is very difficult. Change is difficult. You are talking about an industry where for 55 years it had never been developed. I don't expect to get easy right through. You need a lot of education, you need a lot of resources, you need a lot of energy to go through that. So for me, I am looking at creating jobs and harnessing these resources to its fullest.
If you just joined us, we're talking to Daniel Macaulay, Executive Chairman of the McDan Group of Companies. He is one of the few industry leaders in this country who actually can lay claim to owning, that's the salt industry. It's a point you've made in the past that in Ghana there's almost no industry that is owned by Ghanaians, very few of them. And you've said it today that we allow the space to be occupied by foreigners. So what's the problem? I mean, really, if a Ghanaian wants to become the biggest chicken manufacturer, what would stop him?
This is a very important question in the sense that looking at history, that is where we find ourselves now. Give me one industry controlled by a Ghanaian.
Today we mentioned LPG. That was the only one we could think of.
Okay. Well, that is sad. Very sad. You talk about the banking industry. It's controlled by Nigerian and South Africans. The mining industry is controlled by South African and Australians. The road construction industry, the heavy ones are Chinese. The construction industry are the Micheletis, the Concerts, they are Chinese and Lebanese, Italians. If you look at manufacturing industry, it's controlled by the Indians. Right. If you just mention any industry on top of your head, but I believe that there are a lot of constraints. Ghana is a small economy. I was on one of your shows somewhere last year, and I predicted that a lot of companies will fold up.
Yeah.
And my prediction came through somewhere last year. This year, a lot of companies have folded up, and more are folding up. It's about time we look at that critically. And it's about time we have to start creating big industries. Well, if McDan is created, I can create a lot of SMEs. Government job is to create big businesses and let the businesses create the SMEs. I can create 1,000 SMEs if I have the right environment, the right support, the right push.
So you think government is actually misapplying its efforts into creating SMEs?
Well, they have to do some part because they have a lot of agencies that deal with SMEs. But government focus should be in creating the big businesses. I have some few things under my sleeves, but just imagine in the agri sector, two big giants comes up, like somebody doing 5 million chickens. Another person is doing the poultry feed. Just sit down the supply chain. How many SMEs can be created out of it doing the 5 million chickens? Supplying the whole of Africa. Just tell me, somebody is doing grain, producing 10 million metric tons of soya beans and maize. Tell me how many SMEs and job that single individual can create. Let them come to the salt. By next year, we should be doing 1 million metric tons.
Wow.
Every time we are harvesting salt, we're talking even manual harvest. I've left some part for manual harvesting because of job creation. We have 3,000 plus another 2,800 workers.
Wow.
Just tell me what the impact in terms of their pocket. This is what we call real direct impact. Government cannot come down to put money on the person working on the streets unless you create a business. Most of our problems will be sorted out if we create more jobs. Right now, we are doing salt. Most of the traders in salt are women. Women in salt trade. Salt is a big thing. My focus is on women. Women who want to aggregate salt in many ways. If you step out there, you have a lot of SMEs doing soap, all the detergents, food, and all that, and all come from the salt. So if this industry is built to another level, see how much SMEs Electrochem can create.
Do you think the problem, the attitude problem, is with the leaders or with the people?
Leadership had been one of our biggest problems in Ghana. Leadership. It's about time. Many a time policies are made and industry players are not involved. I mean, when policies are being created or enacted, I believe that industry players must be consulted so that that line can be drawn. We can support sitting government in so many ways with our business ideas. Some of us grew our business from the streets, so we have the book. The soft part, the difficult part, and all part.
Are you saying that doesn't happen? I mean, does this government not consult you? You are seen to be their friend.
Well, I've never been consulted on a single policy.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it's difficult. I've seen many policies and I have questioned. I've said that this is likely to fail. Most of them. So it's about time we look at that. I mean,
like one district, one factory, for example.
One district, one factory is one of the brilliant ideas that this government came up with, but the implementation was wrong. I question it. Look, if you look at our economy, what we need is industries. I can tell you for a fact, we're talking about the salt industry. Looking at our demographical destiny in the country, you're sitting somewhere in Ada. You have about thousands of people who cannot be employed by the banks, by the oil companies, and you have an industry like the salt. One person coming to mine is making about 2,000 Ghana cedis a week.
Really?
A week.
You're paying them that well?
Exactly, a week. You understand? Based on how much you can mine.
Charlie,
So
part-time mining job for anybody.
So just imagine, this is an industry. It's in a district. Imagine another district, another place. I remember during the corona, I decided to do sanitizers to share. I opened up a whole warehouses. I was one of the first people who, do my foundation.
Yeah.
I went out and collected all the street kids, all the way from Jamestown to Achimota to East Legon, all the street guys. We worked during the night. Every night, I'm employing over 380 street children. What are they doing? Some are just labeling, some are putting the cork, some are filling the sanitizer. It's a whole chain. This is what industry is supposed to be. So with one district, one factory, in actual sense, supposed to be led for the private sector, and an advisory board of people who have made it before to say if you go here, you will fail. If you put this starch factory in this location where a farmer had to travel 4 kilometers from his farm, how will he be able to transport his cassava? Will he put it on a boboya? When you put here, how do you put prepaid meter to a factory somewhere in the middle of nowhere? His electricity bill is more than the produce. So these are some of the things that collapses business. And it has to be run as business, not government. You put it in the hands of the private sector who has his skin in the business, he will protect the business.
Nice to hear that, it's not a matter of routine. They don't pick up the phone and call you for your advice on policies. When you are, such an industry leader and really are considered to be their friend.
Well, I'm a friend to everybody. I'm a businessman. I'm a friend to everybody, and I speak my mind. I stand for Ghana. Whatever we do, we have only one country. We cannot play politics with this country. We cannot be in a country whereby one government come, try to kill the business of another businessman from another government, and another government come. You are successful from here, they want to kill you, then create another one, then another person come. We can't run a country where the winner take all syndromes continue. We'll continue to languish, and we'll still leave the space.
Yeah. So let's, before we take a break, let me ask you, currently, when you look at the approach that we've taken towards industrializing Ghana, what are we doing wrong?
Dedication. Our political leaders are not really dedicated. There's something called ownership spirit. And we need, look, Ghana is a small place and we have everything. I have traveled all around the world. What is it that we don't have to industrialize? This government come and done one marvelous things, which I always praise them, is the rail. You cannot be a middle income country in this century without a rail.
But they haven't really done it.
They've done it. I think, though it's been a bit slow, but check the record. They've been able to do the rail. And rail tracks are one of the tracks to industrialization. We have to look at our infrastructure. Just government build the infrastructure. Pick certain sectors. Pick smart individuals, not greedy, hungry businessmen, or not businessmen who want to make fast money. There's no fast way to heaven. To make it in business, you have to be consistent. I believe in consistency. So you can identify businessmen in this country who have been consistent, who are disciplined, who have the right attitude to build the next tomorrow. You are talking about an industry. Government can call you and say, okay, your business is this level. I want to industrialize here. Till you have the person already will prefer to put his skin in the game. Immediately the person agreed to be part, the business will never collapse. Look, I'm building a whole industry, which is going to be one of the biggest, not in Ghana, in Africa, where every African will have the opportunity to own a piece, because we are going on the stock market, to own a piece of it.
Electrochem?
Electrochem. This is a big one. I'm building the aviation industry in terms of connectivity, the whole of Africa. You need a lot of discipline. At the same time, you need a lot of government support. Why do you need a lot of government support? The government must support you in terms of infrastructure. Well, this government on the salt industry had been fantastic. They have helped with documentation. Even the president came all the way to Ada to commission the salt project and promise to connect 2 roads. We are going to build a port.
Really?
Yeah, we're building a port in Ada. And the president promised to send the road from the salt mine to the port. And I believe the highways are working diligently on it. These are some of the things you need. And for this industry, the presidents are taking it as his baby to make sure that it thrives. And where we are right now, I don't see anything bringing it down. We're already almost on the stock market.
Wonderful.
Yes, and creating jobs, building refinery, and all that.
Exciting times. Yes, our guest is Dr. Daniel Macaulay, Executive Chairman of McDan Group of Companies. He's been with us for a greater part of our show this morning. We've been enjoying the conversation so far. All right, now let's talk a bit more about Electrochem. You mentioned earlier that the big plan for the future is to float it on the Ghana Stock Exchange. I mean, what does that mean? Does it mean Ghanaians can become owners of Electrochem?
Well, definitely. That's the whole idea. I mean, immediately you go on the stock market, an ordinary teacher sitting somewhere in his bedroom in Adan can just pick his phone and buy a share and be part owner of Electrochem. I mean, it's all about the people. We went to Adan to show the people a lot of respect and ask them for the permission. And it is actually the chiefs themselves who picked me to develop their concession. They came to see the president that they've seen their own. So why won't you make them part of the pie? We are building a lot of community ponds. We build a lot. Right now, we are even seeding off part of our concession for the community to also do salt. And we have given them 100% offtake agreement that whatever they produce, we buy. So it's going to be an exciting time for the people of Adan. They have given us the maximum support. Based on the support they've given us, they have to be part of the pie, but they were part from day one. So it's for them. They have received Electrochem well. The project is actually for them. We are creating jobs for them. We are bettering their livelihood. Just some few people. It happens everywhere. Every mining area, there are 1 or 2 people who refuse to understand certain things. So as time goes on, change is difficult. We'll get there, but they stand to gain, create jobs for them, buy shares and be part. Or you can take 1,000 Ghana cedis and be part of Electrochem.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, and I guess it's a very different attitude when you are a part owner of a business, and your intention then is for it to succeed.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I know that since this mine came online, and it is the biggest salt mine in Africa, it's going to have an impact on our economy. Let's talk about that. I mean, how much do we spend importing salt, and how much of it can Electrochem save us on import bill?
Well, currently, Ghana is spending over $300 million to import salt into this country.
Oh my goodness! Every year.
Every year. This is just the raw and the refined salt. Not to talk about chemicals. Talking about chemicals, we're getting close to $700 million Ghana is spending on salt and its other affiliates. it's also about time we look at banding some of these products to give way to the local economy to grow. And Electrochem can raise, as we go on the stock market, expanding the production, talking over $1 billion to $3 billion in the next 5 years to 10 years. Actually, by the 8th year, we're talking about $3.2 billion for this economy, and creating over 100,000 jobs across the whole supply chain. So this is the industry we are talking about.
Now, apart from Electrochem, you've been a logistics man for many, many years. You've been into shipping for decades. What's the plan there? Any expansions on the horizon? Any new deals and businesses?
Well, definitely. I mean, when we talk about logistics, I mean, the richest man in the world is a logistics man. You know that? Amazon.
Yeah.
Logistics never dies. And logistics is what connect people, goods and services across the world. So what we're doing currently, well, we have been able to build our new baby, which is the private jet aviation. I mean, but the bigger one is the cargo under the after. We only just bought our first vessel, which will sail down Ghana within the next 3 weeks, which we intend to start a Black Star line.
Oh, wow.
We intend to. So by God's grace, we've been able to purchase our own vessel. We are procuring 2 cargo planes to also fill the space. When it comes to movement in Africa, Africa is a bit green. We are now starting the whole logistics network in Africa. So that aspect of my business, I started this business as a messenger.
Yes.
And I'm still there. Consistency is what had brought us this far. And when the God factor also play a role, you can't go wrong.
Tell us about this God factor.
Every morning we need to seek the face of God first. Whatever we touch, you pray for a humble heart and a guided steps from God. You wake up in the morning, you make sure that your steps should be humble. No matter how rich you are, no matter how high you are, no matter who you are, always pray for God to give you a humble heart and a kind heart. To be able to live and survive in this country, you must have a heart of gold. What happens to you on a daily basis, you need a divine guidance and direction, that you will not be seen being arrogant, you will not be seen treading over people who are less than you. You must be a team player. So that is what I stand for. These are my values. I was trained by a poor illiterate charcoal seller. So these were the values my mother gave me, to be humble.
Well, you've certainly not departed from them. We've been talking to Daniel Macaulay. He's executive chairman of the McDan group of companies. He's been our guest this morning. We've explored all areas of business and a bit of personal life as well. Just a little bit, not a lot. Have we got some questions coming in? We've been asking for these questions. A bunch of questions were coming through earlier. And I think you've actually answered one of them already. Somebody wanted to know how much we are saving on the importation of salt, and yeah, we've answered that one. So I think we'll say a big thank you to Daniel Macaulay. We appreciate your time with us very, very much. It's always a pleasure to have you, and we look forward to the next chapter.
Thank you, Kojo. Thank you.
All right.